What's going on? Recently, I've been playing tons of Battlefield 5 and 2042. I know that might be a hot take. I think Battlefield, DICE, EA need to just make a new game, continue the IP, because now it is needed way more than ever. With Call of Duties coming out each year, Battlefield has slowly started to die. Today on screen, you're watching me play some Battlefield 5 and some 2042, talking about why the game needs to make a comeback. And honestly, it might be inevitable. In this time, it doesn't seem like it'll happen. Although I am pretty hopeful, all we can do is hope for a new Battlefield game. Now, you can blame DICE, you can blame EA for releasing 2042 very undercooked and having a terrible release, honestly, filled with bugs and just a bunch of things that straight up did not work in the game. Over time, obviously the game got updates and eventually figured its own little path in the world and sort of became a decent game, but it didn't have the same vibe or atmosphere as something like Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 5 had, and honestly was the beginning of the decline of Battlefield IP. And it's sad to see, but DICE really just dropped the ball on this one. And another argument you might have is people don't really want to play Battlefield. They want to play COD, they want to play Warzone, they want to play other games besides Battlefield. And I don't know if I subscribe to that fully, because with sudden pops of Battlefield popularity, like recently people have started playing a lot of Battlefield 5, Battlefield 2042 still has a pretty dedicated community, whether that be on console or on Steam. These games are still being played, and I think a lot of people still want to play Battlefield. These games are a little bit older and they weren't what they used to be, and with COD being released year after year, games like Apex being free to play, Fortnite being free to play, you could see sort of why Battlefield has started to decline. It's very sad to see, but people just are more willing to play COD, and I don't really blame them. I just can't personally pay $70 for Call of Duty year after year, because I was paying $60 ever since I was 13. I've been giving them $60 each year for the longest time when I was playing a bunch of Call of Duties on console. And it's a COD life cycle. That's all it really comes down to. The game releases, people play it, people complain, they update the game, they add DLCs, yada yada yada. The game makes a comeback, they announce the new COD, same thing happens over again. Battlefield does have a little bit of staying power. They don't come out each year. When they do release, they're pretty eventful, right? I think the head of EA had an announcement saying that there is a bright future for Battlefield, but I'm just not seeing it. I think everyone and their grandma would like to play a brand new Battlefield game and throw it back to the old school days with destructible environments, vehicles, and great gameplay overall. You know, I really hope it comes soon, but at this rate, it's just really hard to tell. And slowly the IP is dying. I think that's why a lot of people are going back in time and playing a bunch of older Battlefield games like Battlefield 5. But yeah, let me know if you still play Battlefield, if you had an itch to play any sort of Battlefield. What are you guys playing right now? Is it Call of Duty? Is it Fortnite? Now, how exactly can DICE and EA make a brand new game competing with current games right now? The current state of the new Battlefield is kind of in a weird spot. It's in limbo. It does get updates pretty frequently. There's been a lot of new seasons, a bunch of new content, but it's not nearly enough where people decide to come back just to play the game on its own. You can only do so much with content and new weapons, new maps, new game modes. The fundamental game has to change overall if you want a big new pool of players to come into the game and actually play it for a decent amount of time. You know, make content about it, stream it, do all that. All that will keep the game in like the news life cycle, and that's kind of what Battlefield needed. How can Battlefield even make a comeback? Call of Duty really cashed in with battle royales, and Warzone just as a whole. I feel like one of the reasons Call of Duty is still as popular as it is was because of Warzone. It's really hard to say where the game would be at without it. DICE did try to give us new game modes like a battle royale in Battlefield 5. Forget what it's called. What is it? Firestorm? It wasn't that popular, right? You didn't see a lot of people talking about it. And then in the new Battlefield game, we got the extraction shooter, which never really takes off, right? You can't beat Tarkov in that aspect. Nothing is really beating Tarkov when it comes to extraction shooters. So what can devs really do for you to want to go and play a new Battlefield game? That's something that they have to ask themselves a lot, and only time will tell to see if they get the right answer. Personally, I would like to see 64 players, 120 players, whatever, combined arms game modes, like I'm talking jets, planes, tanks, helicopters, vehicles, and having that with great maps, conquests, breakthrough, really getting back to the roots. I think that's a great foundation for a new game. That is just like the meat and potatoes. You need some good spices, something to make people want to come and check out this new thing. The finals was kind of that for me. It's really similar to Battlefield with like destructible environments. EA has announced that they will make a new Battlefield, And I just hope it's not trash, honestly. Yeah, so according to GameSpot, the next Battlefield game is a reimagination of the series, so that's pretty hopeful to read, I guess, as a headline. In this article, during a earnings briefing, the EA CEO said the next entry will be a reimagination of Battlefield. He went on to say the next Battlefield game will exist in a truly connected ecosystem. It'll be an entirely new Battlefield experience. Only history will tell if he's actually telling the truth, and we see a brand new game coming out, and these claims live up to the hype, which hasn't even started yet, but I know it will happen eventually. The hype train will start soon. Call of Duty being released every year kind of muddles down the competition. I remember back in the days when it was Halo, Battlefield, and Call of Duty all fighting for my precious $60, and I gave it a lot to Treyarch. Black Ops 2, bought all those games, great times, but I also bought Battlefield. So I really just want the game to come back into the mix, be a popular game, because at its core, it is pretty unique, and I think the newer generations would appreciate something like that. It would be good for everyone to see a brand new game come out and be good, and just be good, not be released with bugs and just felt like I was getting cheated to buying the game. But in reality, I would probably always buy a new Battlefield game. It's always been a staple in my rotation of games that I play. I've always liked the vibe of playing Battlefield. It's pretty fun. I get really immersed. In my heart, I really hope DICE gets their act together, gives us something great, and stays around for a lot longer than this game did. With that being said, if you're still watching to this point, really appreciate y'all. Check me out for tons of more Battlefield content, new FPS games that drop that I think are interesting. Let me know what else you want to see, how you feel about the new Battlefield game. What are your thoughts? Let me know. Really appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. They're everywhere, man. They're everywhere. I can't stop them. Holy shit, I was by myself. What the hell? Holy fuck.